Hi there. Do you have trouble presenting in meetings? Maybe you have trouble articulating your points. Maybe the right points don't come to your mind at the right point, and maybe you doubt yourself and you hold back your questions or points of view. So this video is for you so that you are able to present your points expertly, articulately and precisely and win the trust and admiration of your audience. Who am I? I am Meera Ramani. I am a leadership and executive coach with 2 decades of experience in corporate organizations across the world. I have been a manager and leader in such organizations as Procter & Gamble and Amazon, and today I coach hundreds of leaders up their leadership game and create the impact, influence and income that they desire. Before you move on, make sure you subscribe to my channel here so you get regular updates on career and leadership tips. Now let's come to the topic: how to present in meetings articulately, precisely and come across as the expert. Now you may be a senior leader, and I've heard this complaint from senior leaders as well, that when they grow in their organization, the amount of responsibilities on their plate grow and the amount of things, the number of things that they have to keep in mind grow. So they're not able to remember things. So they're not able to remember certain artifacts, and they then because of that feel underconfident. Or it could be somebody who is not yet a senior leader and wants to be one, and they are endlessly doubting themselves, and their points are not flowing in the way that they want to, and because of that they're not able to come across as experts, influence the audience, wow their audience as the expert. So this again is to you if you have trouble speaking up in meetings, presenting, etc. Now I break this down into 3 P's. First is prepare, second is present, and third is post-mortem. First, prepare. Now, if you think back on the last few times where you did not present as well as you wanted in meetings, now go back to those instances and think about them. Who was in that meeting? What were you presenting? What were the topics being presented? What were the thoughts you had in your mind while presenting that kept you from speaking up? For example, this may not be talked about enough, but the fact of the matter is, when we are in meetings, when we are in situations that intimidate us, even if ever so slightly, if there are senior leaders and we feel intimidated, our mind goes into the chatter of, oh, what if I say something stupid? What will they think about me? What if I come across as foolish and lose trust with my leadership? Maybe somebody else will talk that point. Maybe I should wait. It's not yet my turn. So the mind is constantly in a churn and you are not present in the meeting. So think back on those times when you're not present in those meetings. What kind of mental chatter, what kind of conversations going on between the different voices in your head? Really cross-analyze that. Go back to a previous instance and see who were the stakeholders in the meeting. What about them probably intimidated you? Is this the lab? Is this their role? Is this their body language? Be aware of these triggers. So that is very important for you to know. And what were the topics being discussed? What made you uncomfortable? Did you not know a certain thing about that topic? How can I prepare in advance is then the question to ask yourself. So as you can see, preparation is the key. I will use the analogy of a marathon. You want to run a marathon at the end of the year. You do not start preparing in October or November. You start preparing way in advance. And this is the analogy I want to apply when it comes to meetings as well. You want to prepare much in advance. The personality you are, how you show up in meetings, not just for one meeting. Once you start preparing for your major meetings that way, it becomes easier for you. You can easily run a 5K run or a 10K run and eventually the marathon as well. So what I'm sharing with you in terms of preparation is not just to help you in one meeting, but for you to be the champ in all meetings. So prepare along these lines. So again, prepare about the topic, think about the major meetings coming up. There could be, let's say, 20 meetings coming up next week. Think about the 5 major meetings where you want to come across as the expert, make a point, make a change in the way projects are managed, make an impact. Pick up 5 meetings and prepare for them in advance. Think about what is the agenda of the meeting, what do you want to get out of the meeting, who are the other people in the meeting, what do they want to get out of the meeting, how can you put yourself in their shoes and understand their points of view, so that if there is a negotiation involved, you can understand, you can come across as a person empathetic to all sides and create a win-win solution. So prepare your mind as well. For example, if your mind chatter tells you that you're not good enough, you don't know enough, challenge that mind chatter. Think of instances where you've come across and delivered exceptional value. And if there are certain gaps, fill those gaps if there is a gap in knowledge, for instance. So that is prepare. The second is present. Now that you have prepared, it will help you present. It will help you present with much more presence. So that is the thing, right? When your mental chatter takes over, you're not present in the situation. You're elsewhere thinking you're not good enough. What if you fumble up? Maybe this is not the right place, etc., etc. But be present in the meeting. Really be curious about what the topic being discussed is. What are the other people talking about? That helps you cut out your mental chatter and be fully present. That helps you leverage parts of your brain. That helps the ideas flow better, communicate better, and come across as a person who provides value, asks great questions. So in the presentation segment, be present. And again, your curiosity and presence will help you ask the right questions. So in case a certain person asks a certain question and you feel intimidated, take a break, take 1 second break, a deep breath, and say, hey, that's a great question. And give yourself 1 or 2 seconds to articulate the response. You could have a response already in that moment, or you may not. In case you don't have the full response yet, you say that this is what my experience shows me, this is what the data shows me. However, let me come back with a full-fledged response by the end of the week. For instance, you can give them a counter, right? You can give them a response. You do not need to get intimidated by other people, even if that is the CEO of the company. Labels, their roles do not need to intimidate you. They have asked you to be a part of this meeting. You belong at the table. They given your job a salary and asked you to hold a position. So that means you belong at the table. Your expertise matters. So be present, ask questions, be interested. That will help you, and that also calms down the part of your brain that helps you articulate better, communicate better. So that is the presence part of the presentation. Now let's go to the post-mortem, which is the third part. So the event has happened. Maybe it went exceptionally great, much better than ever before, or it did not, or it is somewhere in between in that spectrum. Now, without feeling guilty or ashamed of yourself, without really being so critical of yourself, with a discerning eye, be very data oriented and see what went well in terms of the subject matter, in terms of my presentation, body language, my confidence, my mindset, in terms of stakeholders, how did they engage with me. Really be specific into the data. Now, why I tell you not to be self-critical or too self-critical is because when we get too self-critical, we go down a negative emotional cycle and we do not become productive. We feel very bad and we take days and even weeks to recover from it. So that is not a productive use of your time. You're wasting time. Sleep and rest if you must, of course, but then go back to post-mortem with a data scientist's head. And again, loop back to the preparation cycle, the questions I asked you. So who were the stakeholders? What were the topics? What was my mindset? What was the mental chatter? How can I do differently the next time is the essential question that needs to be asked in the post-mortem, so that the next time you can be 1% or 10% better. So this is a journey to becoming a very charismatic, confident, amazing presenter, speaker, and a meeting host or conversationalist. This will help you in all aspects of your career, whether it's a one-to-one meeting, whether it's a group meeting, whether it's a presentation, a large presentation, whatever, it will help you. If you invest this time and effort in preparing yourself, every meeting will start becoming easier. I hope that helps. Click the subscribe button to follow me and get more tips on career and leadership success. See you in the next video. All the best.